I'm Dan.
I'm Sarah.
And this is Archie, and this is our camper story. So I'm a photographer, and I've been working in the outdoor space for the better part of a decade now. And it all kind of started when I bought my Jeep about 10 years ago. I kind of fell in love with the driving part of being outdoors. But in the Jeep world, it is kind of more focused on the crawling over rocks and rock crawling and getting over obstacles kind of thing, and not so much traveling and seeing places. And that was more so what I wanted to do, because as a kid, I didn't really travel all that much. We kind of went to the same place for family vacation every year, and I didn't really get out of Maryland until probably 2016 when I went to Seattle with my sister and my brother-in-law. And it was really then that I saw how different things could be, even just inside the United States. So I really wanted to travel because I hadn't done it yet. I grew up going fishing and shooting with my grandfather, and I loved every minute of it. I loved being outside, and then as I got older, I kind of shifted more towards sports, so I wasn't doing as much of the camping activities and stuff like that. So once I got to adulthood and was able to actually have, real adult money and be able to spend time and money on things, I really dove headfirst into overlanding. It became something that was kind of part of my identity for a little bit. And it frankly changed my life. It gave me opportunities that I didn't know that I was going to get when I started doing it. But I also just got to hang out with a bunch of friends most of the time and create a ton of really cool memories.
So I work as a scientist full-time, which is quite the opposite from you. And I absolutely love my job. But honestly, it is very stressful some days. And one of the ways that I love to de-stress is activity, and specifically getting outside. My love of the outdoors started when I was a little girl. It was something that was always instilled in me. I grew up camping with my mom and my sisters, and my dad was just the ultimate adventurer, whether it was biking or climbing or rappelling or camping. He did it all, and he loved to travel the world and just see what adventures he could follow or get into. I distinctly remember camping with my mom being one of my favorite things growing up, despite many vacations that we were so blessed to be able to go on. Camping in the most primitive form, tent camping and cooking over fire, were some of my core memories, some of my favorite vacations that we took. It just expanded from there as I grew up. I was lucky enough to be able to take sailing lessons, and that became a part of our adventures then with my dad. It was just anytime we could get on a boat. Seasons happen in life, and I got busy with other things, with sport specifically, and then school, undergrad, and then just life took over. I started a career, had kids. Those are all amazing things, and I loved every step along the way. But getting outside and all of that adventure definitely took a backseat to those things. And I think as the kids started to get older, I realized that piece was missing more and more. And it just, once I started to try to be intentional about getting the boys outside and incorporating that as part of our lives, it just so happened that Dan came along. Mm-hmm. So when I met Dan and we talked about overlanding, I first had to Google what that even meant, because I had no idea. And we just talked more and more about what the outdoors and adventure and camping looked like for him as he grew up and in his adult years. And we realized that it was definitely something that we wanted to start to do together. And we started dating and incorporating the boys in that as well. And I think it became very evident quickly on our first camping trip that the setup that worked for you as a single guy on the road was not going to work for the family.
Correct. It just wasn't big enough for anything other than me and Archie. Because we decided that we wanted to start really doing this more as a family, we needed to look into some other options for a camping situation, mostly because we just needed more space. So when we started looking at the different options for campers, we had a few things that we knew that we wanted. One of them was we knew that we wanted something that had aftermarket support and aftermarket accessories. Sarah and I love to design and change and customize things to our own, and we knew that we wanted to be able to do that with the new camper easily. We wanted to be able to basically just buy parts off of a shelf and bolt them on. We also wanted something that had the ability to sleep all of us, all 5 of us, so the 2 kids, me and Sarah and Archie, all combined inside the camper if we need to. It's not going to be the primary living situation, but if we need to, we want to be able to sleep everybody comfortably inside the vehicle. We still wanted something that was able to go off-road and do the trips and still be able to handle some tough terrain, but then also sleep all of us comfortably.
Yeah.
So those were ultimately our main priorities.
That was important to us because one of the things that we have a shared interest in is going to places that you can't easily get to and exploring those areas, getting away from people and just being absolutely immersed in nature. So we didn't want to sacrifice the ability to get to those remote places for having enough space for all of us.
Ultimately, that led us to, I think we had 4 options that we were down to at the very end. One of them was to get a brand new custom Snap camper because at the time, Snap was still open and theoretically we could get them to do pretty much anything we wanted. We also looked at the 4-wheel campers Project M. We looked at that because it was one of the only options that had the ability to come on and off the truck easily, but that was really the only thing that drew us to that camper. We also looked at the Super Pacific, mostly because Super Pacific has a ton of aftermarket accessories that they make for their campers. They're very modular. So the thought process was we could build the truck out in a way that we could have like an upstairs and a downstairs where we could sleep all of us if we needed to. But then in September of last year, we went to Adventure X Fest while we were trying to figure all of this out, and we happened across the full-size versions of the Alu-Cab mod cap families. And from there, we were basically sold. It checked basically all of our needs and then gave us some extra stuff on top of that.
Gave us stuff we didn't know that we wanted.
Yeah, didn't even know that we wanted. And you know, the thing I think you liked the most was the skylight.
That was absolutely my favorite. When I realized it had a skylight and I could lay in bed at night and watch the stars as I fell asleep, that could have been the only feature it had and I would have been sold on it. So yeah.
It's pretty fantastic. And the fact that we can fit the 5 of us up there, no problem at all, truly blew us away. There's just so much space up there. There's so much space with the hatches open. Like it was pretty incredible to see.
Yeah, I think we were even skeptical in the beginning, you know, when it said, 4-person and, you know, thinking, well, maybe people smaller than us.
Right.
Because we're not small people, but yeah, once we saw it, it really is a tremendous amount of space. I think also once we started looking at all of the accessories that were out there available for the Alu-Cab camper, which is, like you said, one of the positives with going with that camper, it has such a great aftermarket support and accessories available. We realized that there were tons of options for tables that we could put on the back door, we could put, you know, on the side of the truck. There were just so many different options that would allow us to make up for the fact that we didn't have a tailgate.
Right. And then going off of, you know, the accessories thing, I mean, there are so many different features you can add to the Alu-Cabs just because of the aftermarket parts that they have. Like there's molly panels for every inch of those campers. There's, you know, little modules that can be added different places, and effectively you just buy a product off the shelf and plug it in and bolt it up and it's ready to go. which was also something that was very, very important to us.
Yes, it was, because ultimately we wanted to get the camper, put it together, and use it. We didn't want to spend all of our time trying to figure out how to put the things into it that we wanted to have, that we needed to have. We wanted to be able to buy those things, install them, and start using it.
And then just go camping. That's all we want to do.
Ultimately, we want to camp.
So really all that's left at this point is to get the truck prepped to go up to OK 4-wheel drive to get the new camper. So I've got to clean everything out. I've got to get the old camper stored and put away, and get the truck prepped to go get the new camper in a few days.
Yep. We're excited.
Very, very excited. The time has come for the camper to be gone. Well, it's not gone. It's sitting over there in that garage. But the truck is camperless now. Got everything pulled out of the bed. It's still kind of a mess. I gotta clean up a little bit more, but it was pouring down rain, so I decided not to do that. But yeah, a little over a week, the new camper goes on.